how thankful we are for giving us another day of life, for bringing us here so we can learn, Father, how to better ourselves mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. We thank you for this program. At first, Lord, I had no interest whatsoever, but then by the second night, Father, I know it's the Holy Spirit that's giving me that power to do better for my health because I know I have issues too. So thank you, Father, for bringing this, our teacher here to teach us how to live better so that we can serve you better. Pray for the Holy Spirit to be in the midst. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Before Cynthia gets started, tonight's lecture is on cancer, and we entitled it Rebellion of the Body, which cancer is, that's what it is rebellion in your body. I'd like to find out, so Cynthia can hear as she is talking and maybe keep some of these things in mind, what it is that you would like to know about cancer. What is it that interests you? What would you like to know in terms of cancer? Why don't we just kind of go around the room? Mary Lou, we'll start with you. That kind of rhymed, didn't it? How to treat cancer naturally, okay? Just second, Cash. Ma'am? Miss Faith Rare. Faith and Hope. Come back to you. Okay, ma'am? Treat cancer naturally. Okay, ma'am? Oh, thank you, Cash. Right on.
I don't know, pretty much the same. I know we all want to know how to treat it naturally. Maybe to tell us how the sugar plays a big role in cancer.
Okay, all right.
I agree with all of that.
Okay.
I think why is it why do we blame cancer as a community? Like nobody knows that. Maybe only the doctors know how to beat cancer. You know what I mean?
So
They
you're
don't know
saying
it's
as a community, why don't we know how to deal with it?
like, is there another way, like natural remedies
Okay.
for cancers or
Okay, okay.
something like that?
We'll start in the back there. Well, wait, go back to all the way to the back with Auntie Phoebe and the other gentleman.
How to, if you have one and you are in remission, how can we continue
To continue to be in
Be
remission.
in
Okay,
remission?
okay.
Okay.
And the gentleman there.
I'd like to be proactive, and if you can share with us what causes cancer. There's a variety of them, and I'm not sure how much you're going to cover.
Okay. Now we're going to move up. And thank you all for coming up front. That's what. Okay. Oh, go ahead, Cash.
Can you like share the question again so they can hear?
Oh, okay. What would you like to know about cancer?
What you can do to slow it down or get rid of it, prevention. But if
Okay.
you already have been diagnosed with cancer, what protocol should you take?
Uh-huh. Okay.
I know that cancer is whatever we put in our mouth, right? It starts there, unless, you inherit it. But I'm thinking that maybe our water is one of the problems that we have for cancer because it has a lot of chemicals. It does not taste like it used to taste. It tastes like it does have chemicals in it. And so I believe, this is my theory, okay? You don't have to believe me, all right? I believe that the water has some part in causing cancer.
Okay, all right.
I know a lot of it is with what you consume, but also the role that your mental state of mind has to do with beating cancer. A lot, are you thinking positive? How to stay in a positive state of mind, which is a very potent medicine, I think. So, how does that play a role? Your conscience.
Amen. Amen. Okay, pass it. Janet.
My question is, if we can kill the cancer naturally, would there still be a need for chemotherapy?
Okay. Good question.
My answer is the same about prevention.
My question kind of piggybacks on the water, as far as if the water that you're consuming is either distilled or treated by reverse osmosis or even hydrogen rich, rather than what we've been taught to be drinking, if that has a significant ability to heal the body and diminish the rate at which cancer grows.
All I know is I eat to live and not live to eat.
That was something Agatha Thrash used to say. Okay, that's Elder? No, okay, all right. All right, so, without, yes.
Are there any genetic predispositions?
Well, welcome every one of you again tonight. The ones who are not here, they are going to miss a treat tonight. So I'm welcoming each of you, and I'm happy to see you. And it is my pleasure to speak about a very sensitive topic, which is cancer. If I were to ask you if you know someone who had cancer, can I see your hands? Everybody knows someone, or might even have been dealing with it as well. And so we're going to look at all the reasons that you want to know about cancer. We'll touch bases here this evening. Now, I have two very important testimonies that I would like you to hear, but it comes at the end. So if you leave before, you won't get it. I'm going to try to get you out of here on time. It's now 7:45. I'm thinking no later than about 8:15. It probably might be before, but I do have a lot of slides, and I might jump some of them just to make sure that you get the gist of what I'm trying to present here this evening. So, I saw this, and I like the picture. It says, the patient should be made to understand that he or she must do what? Take charge of his own or her own life. Don't take your body to the doctor as if it were a repair shop. And that's what we do. We get sick and then we go to the doctor. Oh. Okay. I will start again. All the answers that you gave a minute ago are all what we're going to be touching bases on for tonight. And we have a lot to go through, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to get it all done for you tonight. And I'm going to try to get you out on time. We have been going home late at night. We all have been, which means that we're not getting to bed early as we should. So we're going to try and do that tonight. So our first slide talks about what the patient should be made to understand. And it says that the patient should be made to understand that he or she must take charge of whose life? Your own life. Don't take your body to the doctor as if it were a repair shop. Because what we do is we wait until we get sick, and then we go to the doctor and we expect the doctor to make us well, right? I think it's in Sweden where I heard this, I haven't read it, that if you are sick, the doctor have to pay you because the doctors are supposed to make you well. Wouldn't that be nice? We'd all be rich. Okay. Okay. Not so quickly. Okay. So, cancer. I've termed this title because what cancer is rebellion in the body. What comes to mind when you hear the word rebellion? Huh? Is it? Oh, good. Thank you. So rebellion in the body. And what comes to mind for me was sin. How Satan rebelled against the laws of God. And what cancer is, one of the diseases is rebellion against the laws of health. Okay? So it is one of the major killers in the world. And it is estimated that over 13 million people will die from cancer by the year 2030. That number has gone up since, I think I told you last night, it was a different number I told you last night. But it's, look at that, 13 million people by 2030. Why? Why are people still dying so much from cancer today? Now, when I got out of nursing school in 1985, I was told that cancer can be beaten. Since then, there is no cure in sight for cancer. Well, not that there is no cure, but a lot of people are still dying from cancer, let's put it that way. So, I look at the statistics for Hawaii, and they were a bit astounding. Annually, an average of 7,393 residents are diagnosed with invasive cancer, and 2,393 individuals die from cancer. Breast cancer remains the most frequently diagnosed cancer in women, and for men, it's prostate cancer. So there are over 66,000 Hawaiian residents who are cancer survivors, which is a good thing. And maybe it's the type of weather you have here. I was just talking to my friend before I came, and she said even the beach had some snow just recently. So I said, I chose the best time to come to Hawaii. And when I go back, it's going to be up in the 60s, so that's good. That's good. So over the past decade, increases occurred for melanoma of the cancers of the oral cavity, the pharynx for male and female, and cancers of the kidney and renal pelvis, the testes and pancreas for males, and myeloma, cancer of the uterus, endometrium, and breast cancer for female. Hawaiian men and women had higher incidence of cancer of the intrahepatic, which is the bile duct, and stomach compared to the US overall. So you had a lot more in that area. Among females, Native Hawaiians had among the highest lung accidents, incidence, and mortality rate. What are you guys doing here that this will happen? The what? The standard American diet, maybe? And thyroid cancer incidence is the highest among Filipino women, and whites have the highest rates of melanoma, and that comes from the University of Hawaii Cancer Center. So what is cancer? Oh, okay. Can you read that? Okay, it's a term for or a disease in which I can't even read it myself, in which the abnormal cells nearby tissue and can spread to other parts of the body through the blood and the lymph system. And the top one says that it is the continual, uncontrolled production of cells that are of no benefit to the body. So once these cells start, and it only takes one cell that will divide into two cells. Two cells will divide into 4 cells, and 8, and 16, and it just keeps going. But there is a point in which you can catch it and do something. But the interesting thing is that most people don't know that they have cancer until they go to the doctor and check it. For women, men are the ones who find out because of intimacy. They're the ones who find out breast cancer. And a lot of the times, it's a doctor or a partner or someone who actually comes up with a lump, especially in the breast, and then they actually go to the doctor from there. It takes about 10 years for cancer to actually develop to the point where you can actually palpate it, feel it, that it's there. 10 years. So it can be growing in any one of us right now, and we don't even know it. And the interesting thing is that even the doctors have no idea how 1,000 can turn to 2,000 to 3,000, and the numbers just keep going up, and they hadn't caught it when it was in its early stages. So is it possible that what we eat and drink, where we live and work, and what we breathe may well determine whether we become a cancer statistic? The houses we live in, for a lot of people, they don't even know their houses have mold. I was speaking to a gentleman who called me a couple of years ago, and he says, I just bought a house for $1 million, only to find out that the house is riddled with cancer. He was sick, his wife was sick, and they had no idea until they went to the doctor and got checked. And then he was trying to see if he can get back his money, because the people who sold it must have known that's why they left. You know? So the houses we live in, the water that we drink, the food that we eat, what else? The environment, the air we breathe, all of these things are playing negatively against us. So, what it says here is globally, 3 to 4 million cases of cancer each year can be done what? Can be prevented by something. Appropriate diet. Appropriate diet. For many people, including myself, I was there at one time, I ate whatever did not eat me first. And so once I changed that, at my age, I have not suffered with anything, any disease. I have not been on any medication or anything like that, all because I am sticking to what works. And there's a saying that says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So it's been working for me, so that's what I'm going to stick with. So by 2050, the number of cases, cancer cases, is predicted to increase to what? 35 million, based solely on projected population. Our population is exploding. This is a FYI. Did you know that when the flood came, the amount of people that died in the flood was about what we have now? Did you know that? That's interesting, isn't it? I don't know how they came up with this statistic, but they said we are close to, because I think we're 8 point something billion on the planet. And that was about the time when the flood came and destroyed most of the people, except for Noah and his family, which is kind of scary. Those short, small numbers are the only ones that were saved. But anyway, we have hope, don't we? We have to keep hope alive, and we have to be obedient to God's law to make it into his kingdom. So 1 in 4, 70 to 80% of cancers are preventable. Around the world, there is one death every 30 seconds from heart disease and cancer. And yesterday, I think just by itself, it was 36, one every 36 seconds for heart disease. But here it says one every 30 seconds from heart disease and cancer. So since 1971, Richard Nixon spent trillions of dollars on cancer treatment and trillions of dollars on research. It is now the #2 cause of death in America, soon to override heart disease. And so with 33 to 50% of the population having cancer, that's kind of scary because it's like 1 in 2, 50%. So in 2003, $25 billion was raised for research. When I came out of nursing schools, as I said a little while ago, I was told that cancer can be beaten. So why is it in 2025 we're nowhere close to beating cancer? What happened to that money? Did it go into somebody's pocket? That's what I think. The CEOs, they make a lot of money. Yes. So in the 19th century, cancer was obscure. 5% of Americans developed cancer in the 19th century. By 1940, that's another what? That's 40 years. It took 40 years for it to get to 6%. By 1970, it rose to 10%. By 2016, look at the jump, 40%. And now we're in the 50% range of cancer around the world. 5 to 10% of all cancers can be attributed to genetic. Yes. What was my saying yesterday? Faulty genes did what? Faulty genes load the gun and lifestyle pulls the trigger. So even if you were born with a set of bad genes, it doesn't mean that you have to come down with cancer either, okay? And 90 to 95% is attributed to the environment and lifestyle. 1 out of 2 men will get it, 1 out of 3 women will get it, and 1 out of 4 deaths in the country is from cancer. Common causes of death from cancer include cancers of the lung, the breast, colorectal, stomach, and prostate. And the death rates in men, #1 is lung, prostate, colorectal, stomach, and liver, and And of all cancer-related deaths, almost 25 to 30% are due to tobacco. As many as 30 to 35% are linked to diet. About 15 to 20% are due to infections, and the remaining percentage are due to other factors such as radiation, stress, physical, that should be inactivity, and environmental pollutant. We are bombarded with a lot of plastic. Do you know the amount of plastic that is in the ocean is about the size of Texas? That's a lot of plastic. Now, it was when Barbara started coming to my house, because when she comes to do the program at Living Springs, she stays with me. And she got me to get rid of as many plastics. It's impossible to get rid of everything. But for the most part, all my dishes are glass. So when I use them, I don't have to worry about the chemicals leaching into my food. If you are using a microwave, you should use no plastic in the microwave at all. Because now you've taken a good meal and you have turned it into a bad meal. So make sure that you're warming your food up or heating it up in glass dishes, in the oven, or if you're going to use the microwave, it's fine, but don't use plastic in the microwave. The statistics for the US, we have the breast, colorectal, cervical, lung, and stomach cancer. In 1918, there was an estimated 18 million new cases around the world, and of these, 9.5 million cases were in men, 8.5 million were in women. And globally, these are the cancers. There's over 100 different types of cancer. These are the most prevalent ones: lung cancer, cervical cancer, and I'd like to tell you the testimony about that cervical cancer, breast cancer, thyroid, colorectal, bladder, prostate, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, stomach, pancreas, liver, leukemia, esophagus, and kidney. So these are globally around the world the top diseases that most people are suffering with. So with this growing global burden, prevention of cancer is one of the most significant public health challenges of the 21st century. Can you imagine what they're dealing with? And when you look at the population, especially the young people today who are not taking care of their health, it's going to get even worse. And it's beginning to point in that direction. So cancer recommendations: changing your dietary patterns, reducing alcohol consumption, increasing physical activity, achieving and maintaining a healthy body weight, and this comes from the American Cancer Society. So we're going to go through a little Cancer 101 today and show you exactly what happens, how cancer develops and what happens at the end. Now, inside of every cell, we have what is called what? A DNA. The DNA contains all the instructions that govern all the cells that govern the body. It contains all the information: the color of your hair, how your voice is going to sound, how tall you're going to be, and even how our voices sound. Just imagine that. It has all the information about all the enzymes and the hormones that our body produces. But if all of this information was to be spread out, look at how long it's going to be. 6 feet when it's unraveled. So it fits into a cell that you cannot even see with the naked eye. I will praise thee, O Lord, with my whole heart. I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knows it quite well. Comes from Psalms 139, verse 14. Now, if all the cells contain DNA, and this DNA contains all the instructions to create every other cell in the body, how does the cell know what sort of cell it's supposed to be? Science or the Bible? Got to be the Bible. Science does not have the answer, but the Bible does. This work is done by the master designer who guides the process. You know, in Jeremiah 1, 4, and 5, it says, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew you. Science doesn't have the answers. I was doing a research just about last week, and I can't remember the scientist's name, but he said he has now become, he reads his Bible and he has a devotion. He said he never used to do that. But he said, not all the scientists are godly. But he said, for the ones who are not, he said, this is his remarks, it's impossible for you to be doing biology and not believe in a God. Isn't that wonderful? I was so happy to see that, coming from a scientist. You have to believe in someone who has that higher power, who can create things by a spoken word. Right? So if the foundation be destroyed, what will the righteous do? The reason for that text is this. Cells are what makes tissues. Tissues are what makes organs. Organs are what makes the systems, and systems is what makes the body. If the cells are destroyed, it means the whole foundation is going to crumble. You get it? Good. So he that is faithful in that which is least will be faithful also in much. Healthy cells equal a healthy body. So we need to take care of these cells. And how do we take care of them? By the things we eat, by our lifestyle. That's how we take care of ourselves. That's how we will prevent ourselves from getting sick or getting cancer. So an adult is made up of about 120 to 130 trillion cells when our growth is complete. Many of these cells will continue to divide for tissue growth and to replace other cells that will die in the body. Every minute, this was astounding to me, about 10 million cells will divide in our bodies. Every minute. So first, there is an altered cell which continues to grow until it invades other tissues. It will replace the normal healthy cells, and if one of these cells happen to get into the bloodstream, it can travel through the bloodstream, implant itself elsewhere, and begin to grow there. If these cells are not destroyed, they will invade the whole body, robbing it of its nutrients, weakening the body as they do, and eventually it's going to lead to death. So when this damage occurs, that cell begins to work independently. That's where the rebellion comes in. And it rebels against the original law that was written in the DNA. If that change occurs in the area of the DNA which controls the rate of cell division, then the cell will begin to multiply rapidly. Each of its offspring will have this damage as well, and it will continue to multiply. This uncontrolled growth is what we call cancer. Rebellious cells rebel. Cancer cells just disobey the normal law of how it is supposed to operate in the body. So there are three ways in which the cancer can continue to grow. Number one, initiation cells. An altered cell, and as I said, it just takes one cell to start the ball rolling. An altered cell is one that has been altered or damaged. It is prone to cancer and can be repaired. If the cell is not repaired, that cell will divide and give the damaged DNA to its offspring. The entire offspring now will be cancer prone and will rarely be able to be repaired. Chances are that the cancer will now remain unless and I think I should add this right now. There are times when some people don't like going to doctors and they don't like having treatments. But it's important to, number one, always go and have a checkup to know how things are going. Taking that initiative for yourself to say, oh, I don't like the doctor, I don't like doctors, I don't want to do this, and I don't want to do that, you're actually asking yourself for maybe an early death. It's important to check out what's going on with your body. When you do that, now you can find out, okay, what have I been doing? There are things that you're doing that actually have caused the cancer, and you think you've been causing it to grow. So now what you need to do is, okay, find out what is causing this. Look at your lifestyle. Look at what you eat. Look at the places you live in. Look at how you're inactive or obese, any of those things. And then you can start rectifying the problem. And as you do that, you will find that you'll be healthier, number one, and you can forego actually having cancer. I've worked as a cancer nurse for many years, and I've seen a lot of people come and go, and some come and go and never come back. And so it's important to me that you know what you're dealing with, what type of cancer it is, whether it's stomach cancer, breast cancer, cervical cancer, whatever it is, then you know that you can get help with it. Okay? So some of the initiators of cancer cell, remember we're looking at the initiator. These are cells that start the damage that cause cancer. For instance, diet and smoking, X-rays, sun exposure, workplace environment, air, water, pollution, chemicals, and more. All of these things can contribute to the cells just starting to mutate. So this is when now promotion, so the first one is initiation, the second one is promotion. And this is when cells begin to grow and divide, and anything that would help it to grow is a promoter. Anything that would prevent it from growing is an anti-promoter. So cancer can be reversed even at this stage. It can shrink or it can grow depending on your lifestyle choices. So if you are a smoker and you got a diagnosis of cancer of the lung, what would be the best thing to do? Stop smoking, right? If you are drinking alcohol, stop drinking alcohol, because those things actually help to make the cells mutate the cells more than anything else, among other things, of course. So these things in the promotion, they do not cause cancer by themselves. They work with the imitators to change the cells from normal to cancerous. Alcohol, which works with tobacco to promote cancer of the mouth, the throat, possibly the liver and other organs. Actually, just smoking cigarette alone, there are 12 cancers that's related to just smoking. So the progression. So what was the first one? Initiation. Second one, promotion. The third one is progression. This is when the cancer begins to grow out of control and begin to invade other tissues. And this is the stage where it's now called malignant. So it can move from your breast, it can move to your brain, it can move to your bones, it can move to your organs. Anything like that can happen. So when it breaks away into the bloodstream, it has metastasized, and now it begins to grow elsewhere. Conditions a cancer sufferer, conditions in a cancer sufferer. They have digestive dysfunction, immune suppression, thyroid dysfunction, abnormal detoxification pathway, toxic colon for sure, and chronic infections and infestations. All of these things, not necessarily all of them will happen to one person, but these are some of the things that can happen to some of the people who have cancer. An amazing what is the immune system? An amazingly intricate collection of specialized and not so specialized cells, organs, and structures. Their mission is to identify and destroy foreign invaders before harm is done to the body. It's like you have a cold, and what happens is that the immune system goes after the white blood cells, goes after this virus or this bacteria and engulfs it, eats it up, goes after the next one. But if more of the viruses are there than there are, more of the white blood cells are there, and there's not enough of the, I'm saying that wrong, more of the white blood cells should be there to gobble up those viruses and bacteria. But if there isn't, then actually it's going to start multiplying even more. And we're going to look at some of the things that can cause the immune system to malfunction as we go along. So, fat cat, what binds the immune system? Fatty and highly processed foods, anxiety and stress, toxicity, caffeine, alcohol, and tobacco. Those are things that binds the immune system and allows it not to work as it should. So there is a cancer prevention plan, and that comes from the American Cancer Society. But what they have said is that the most, the hardest lifestyle to change is diet. Do you find that? The hardest lifestyle to change is our diet. So according to the American Cancer Society, foods high in nutrients and amounts that help to achieve and maintain a healthy body weight. A variety of vegetables, your dark green leafy vegetables, they are loaded with chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is like getting a blood transfusion. So when you juice, if you're juicing and you juice your chlorophyll, it's like you're infusing that, all of that chlorophyll, which is very similar to the blood. What they have found, the studies have shown that in hemoglobin there is an ion called what? Iron. In the blood, the hemoglobin, it's iron. In chlorophyll, it looks very similar to the one in the blood, and it looks very similar, and it's called magnesium. Magnesium, yes, it is. And so that's the only difference between the hemoglobin and the chlorophyll. Just one molecule that looks different. So when you are using a lot of leafy green vegetables, I call it a transfusion. It's a green transfusion, but it does the work. It cleans the body up. It detoxifies the body, and it actually makes you a lot healthier, gives you a lot of energy, believe it or not. And so this is why it is so important to have a variety of the dark green, red, and orange fiber legumes as well, and the beans and the peas and others. I know a lot of the time people said it's so hard to eat beans because of the gas. I'd rather have gas. But what happens is that when you look at what you're getting pound for pound, you're getting a better quality protein with the beans than you are with the meat. The life is in the blood, and the way we eat our meat is quite wrong. The meat should be drained of all its blood. When God gave man permission to eat meat, he says, without the blood. But most people don't eat it that way unless you're Jewish or you're halal or you're Muslim. Those are the people, and that's where you should be buying your meat, because they drain it, the blood, and that's the way. But I understand it has no taste. I don't know if you've ever had, anyone has ever had that kind of meat that's totally drained of blood? You see, whatever is in the animal is also going to be in the blood. Whatever is in that blood is what you are eating. The antibiotics, the pesticides, what else? The glyphosate, the chemicals that Monsanto has put out there to kill everything except the food of itself. So how can it be good? I was telling Gwen today, babies that are born have been tested with over 200 chemicals in their blood at birth. 200. So you see, what we eat is what actually causes the problem. Big problem. Fruits, especially whole grains with a variety of colors and whole grains. So these are the foods that we should be consuming. These are the foods basically that God gave us in Genesis 1:29. Did God know our body makeup? He made us, right? If you go to the dealer and you buy a car, and the dealer says, it comes with what? A warranty. If you ignore the warranty and said, okay, I don't have money to buy any top gas today, so I'm going to put some diesel in it. What's going to happen? Can you take it back to the dealer and says, I didn't have money to do this, so this is what I put in? Would he take it back? No. But God is good. God is gracious. God is long-suffering, right? He will take us back, but we have to make some changes. So the American Cancer Society continues, they say, a healthy eating pattern limits or does not include red and processed meat. And that goes for, the processed meat goes also for the vegetarian things that we are purchasing as well. We need to get off of them. Those are a transition food, not our everyday, forever food. red and processed meat, sugar-sweetened beverages, or highly processed food and refined grain products. Researchers suggest that 30 to 35% or more of all cancers may be caused by a faulty diet. As many as 70% of colorectal cancers may be caused by diet. I worked with a young lady years ago, and she brought the most beautiful salad to work. I was envious of her salad. But in her salad every day was at least a quarter pound of cheese. And I kept warning her about it. I said, you got to give up that cheese. It's one of the last things I think most seven-day, that and fish, is when people are making changes. The meat and the fish and the cheese are the two things that are very hard to give up. They were for me. And anyway, and I would tell her, but she would suffer with constipation. She would go to the bathroom once a week or once every 2 weeks. What's happened to that food she's been eating every day? Just builds up, become toxic in her body. The last I heard from her, she had a colostomy bag. Because they had to go in and get a pouch for her to be able to eliminate. So this is what cheese constipates. If you have diarrhea and you eat cheese, it will stop the constipation. I'm not telling you to do that. Okay? So a heavy meat diet, especially red meat, increases the risk of cancer of the GI tract, colorectal, prostate, breast, stomach, pancreatic, mouth, ovarian, and the lymphatic cancers. So this is what happens when we eat meat. Diet is probably the most important factor in the cause of human cancer. Consumption of meat, especially red meat, has been associated with increased cancer risk. Can food cause cancer? Yes, it can. But the additives, the preservatives, the flavor enhancers, and the pesticides, other chemicals, this can cause cancer, but they said it's only about 2%. So due to the chemicals and pesticides used to grow and preserve our food, carcinogens, cancer-producing substances, are a concern, especially with the array of additives. In 1958, there were only 700 chemicals in our food. What does the second line say? 10,000 additives are in our food. Can you keep up with this? Hard. In 1955, 419 million pounds of chemicals. Today, over 1 billion pounds, or 50 pounds per person, is in our food. In America, preservative, flavor enhancers, pesticides, and other chemicals are used in producing and marketing much of our food. However, only 2% of cancers can be reliably linked to these substances. I don't know if they're telling the truth. I have to question this, right? Now, there was a study that was done where they're looking to see if fiber is really good for you. Come on. Is it? Is fiber good for you? Fiber is good for you regardless of whether or not it decreases the risk of colon cancer. They're spending millions of dollars to find out if fiber is good for your body. It will help to reduce your risk of high cholesterol, obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and certain digestive disorders. Now, oops, didn't show up. Low fiber digests in 72 hours to 7 days. This is my friend who was eating all that cheese, beautiful salad, but just a lot of cheese. It took her a week to 2 weeks to eliminate. And the second one says high fiber diets. So what you ate today should be out tomorrow. And if you want to know how well your plumbing system works, swallow some corn whole. Don't chew it, just swallow it. And the last time you see the corn, that's how many days it would take you to get rid of it. If you didn't see it after 24, 36 hours, good plumbing. And I hooray people whose plumbing is good. But if it's not, then there are things that you can do that would help to speed the process up. On a low-fiber diet, digestive material moves slowly through the intestine, taking from 72 hours to 7 days to complete the journey from entry to exit. Fiber absorbs water like a sponge, and this helps to fill the intestine and stimulates them to increase activity. With a high fiber diet, our food travels through the intestine in 24 to 36 hours. Did you know that within 20 minutes of eating, you should be going to the bathroom? That's a good plumber. 20 minutes. My brother-in-law is like that. I said, hooray. But not many people have this beautiful setup. But we can retrain our bowels. As a nurse, nurses, how many nurses do we have in here? As a nurse, it's hard to drop what you're doing and go to the bathroom when nature calls. And so I developed constipation so badly that I went to my doctor. He did a little pressing on my colon, and I just about jumped off the table. Anyway, didn't ask me, are you eating fiber? Are you drinking water? Are you exercising? Are you doing any of those? No, he just wrote me a prescription for Dulcolax, little yellow pill. I took it, it worked, but that was not what I wanted. I wanted to know, okay, what is causing, what am I not doing that I can correct and get the problem working? And so it happened again and again, but by this time I had my little stash, so I just took it when I needed it. I didn't even bother to go to the doctor. It was years later that I realized how important it is for the colon to work. When my friend said to me, the doctor says if you don't go for 2 or 3 days, it's okay. It's not okay. If you are eating 3 substantial meals a day, then you should be going 3 times a day. If you're not, it means that you are constipated. If you're going once a day and you're eating 3 times a day, you are constipated. And you need to take action now, not when you have a diagnosis of colon cancer. So, fiber, also called roughage or bulk, is found in fruits, vegetables, and whole grain, and play a key role in keeping your digestive system clean and healthy. Hippocrates says, death begins in the colon. And there are many books out there today that will tell you how important it is to keep the colon clean. If the colon is not clean, what happens? It causes auto-intoxication. So all the toxins that should be coming out recirculates right back into your bloodstream over and over, day after day, and then the result is that you're sick with different problems. It helps to keep cancer-causing compounds moving through your digestive tract before they can create harm. Because if you're not eating right, let's say you're eating the standard American diet, and you're not going. Of course, I should say this, animal product has no fiber. So this is one of the reasons why it stays so long in the digestive tract. And most of the people are not eating vegetables or fruit to help the process to go along. And so the more you can eat of the things that are natural, the better. So fat depresses the immune system. How it does that? Saturated fat composition is linked to greater risk of cancer and to more aggressive cancer if you maintain a high blood cholesterol. And remember, you only get cholesterol from where? Animal product. And triglyceride levels when you already have cancer to more metastases and even to increase the death rate. So the body's defense system is only as dependable as the support it gets. Some people are just blessed with a good set of genes that ensure a strong immune system. For others, then if you're lucky, you have to do some things. You have to make sure that you're getting good nutrition. Make sure that you're getting enough rest. a healthy, active lifestyle, plenty of sun. Can I bottle some of your sun to take back with me? I've been asked. And to reduce stress. So these things, they show that getting enough of those things we just mentioned while cutting down on unhealthy habits and avoiding processed food restores the immune system to peak performance. There's a little study that was done. They looked at sugar consumption, and in one hour, your white blood cells can kill about 14 bacteria or viruses. But one soda has 12 teaspoons of sugar. If you have two, and by the way, 12 teaspoons mean 50% of your immune system is shot. 50%. Two sodas, it's like you have 2% left. So, saying that is the sodas are not very good to drink. Even the juices, some of the juices out there are not good to drink. And so the more you consume those things, the more it affects your immune system. The more your immune system will not work. So just imagine 12 teaspoons in one soda, and you're drinking 2 or 3 of those a day. What happens to your immune system? All the way down. Eat as many different colors of fruit and vegetables as possible. Your dark colored produce, such as your berries, kale and broccoli, are especially good, as well as nuts, seeds, garlic, and kelp. They did a study of 6 vegetables to see which one had the most nutrients, and I thought it would have been kale. That was my first thought. But they were looking for how much vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C, how much antioxidants these vegetables had, and I was amazed at what came out at number 1. Can you guess? Huh? That's what I thought it was kale. No, sweet potato. Isn't that something? I was shocked, because I really thought king of them all, kale or broccoli. But it was sweet potato. And we'll cover this in our diabetes class, but sweet potato is very good for diabetics. And if you use the skin, it's even better, because more fiber, okay? Eat raw fruits and vegetables rather than the cooked version whenever you can. Their nutritional content is unparalleled, with many antioxidants to protect those cells in your immune system from damage by toxins in the environment. So for a healthy immune system, the body needs certain essential fats. The body cannot manufacture these, so they must be obtained from the food we eat. And one class of friendly fat is the omega-3 fatty acids, which empower the cancer-killing forces and inhibit cancer cell growth. And flaxseed, unparalleled. Soybean, green soybean is edamame. How many, do they have it here? Okay, edamames. Spinach are good, but did you know that spinach is genetically modified? I found that out just about 2 months ago. It's genetically modified. And all these foods are good sources of omega-3 fatty acids. Also, nuts. Walnuts. Walnuts can go to this list as well. So eat as many different colors of fruit and vegetables as possible. Dark colored produce such as your berries, kale, and broccoli are especially good, as well as nuts, seeds, garlic. Where's the guy who did the garlic? Who was doing all this garlic? He's not here today? No. So he reminds me of my sister who just ate garlic. And as a nurse, my sister's a nurse, I said, how can you go among people smelling like this? She said, I'd much rather have health than friends. So remind yourself to do what? Drink lots of water. A lot of the times we deny ourselves water, and when we don't drink water, we are dehydrated. And what happens is that water is now taken from the brain in order to function other parts of your organs. So once that happens, it's like you can have a brain fog, you know? So keep that in mind. Drink your water from the time you wake up in the morning. Put the water in the bathroom or put it at your bedside and drink 1 or 2 cups of water before your breakfast. And keep yourself well hydrated throughout the day because your body needs it. Your urine should be the very palest of color, otherwise you're just not drinking enough water. How about rest? Is that important? Rest plays an important role in immune function. Make sure you're getting enough sleep. You know how much you need as an individual, and it most likely means you have to go to bed earlier every night to achieve the hours of sleep that you need. So whatever the weather, spend more time outdoors and take the opportunity to exercise while you are there. One doctor says, if you can't take the time to exercise, you have to take the time to be sick. Yes. Exercise makes the circulatory system stronger, and like I was explaining to my little sister here, that even if the only thing you do is move, 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 stand one place and exercise, you're still getting the circulation going. But just don't sit there, move. With regular exercise activity, the bloodstream can transport troops, which is the white blood cells, to the front lines with greater efficiency. And have a good laugh. Laughter is medicine. A merry heart doeth good like medicine, but a broken spirit dries up the bones. Laughter significantly increases the activity of T cells and other markers of healthy immune function. If you can laugh, we can automatically relieve stress levels in our bodies. I was going to put something for you to laugh, I forgot. Alcohol, don't consume alcohol because it affects all of your organs pretty much. If the liver's not working properly, if the colon's not working properly, you are doomed to have some sort of disease accompanying you. This is a study that was done. They used 63,000 cancer patients and 63,000 non-cancer patients, and the researchers found that individuals who drank 1 drink a night for 10 years or 2 drinks a night for 5 years were 5% more likely to get a variety of cancer, including GI, breast, and prostate. And 1 drink is equivalent to a single glass of wine, 2 ounces of whiskey, or 17 ounces of beer. Red wine lovers have touted research that the beverage has the power to destroy cancerous cells. What is in red wine? There is a word, resveratrol. You've heard that. And so they said that that's why it's good to drink wine. But wine is a mocker. Strong drink is raging. Whosoever is deceived thereby is not wise. I don't believe God intended for us to drink wine. But Satan, he was looking at what can we do to get people to disobey God's law. This is something I read in the Spirit of Prophecy. And so he was asking his imps, I call them imps, to come up with a solution. What can we use? What can we do? And you know one of the things they came up with? What? To make the grape juice into wine. Satan himself actually came up with that idea. And this is why we have so much diseases and health and homes, broken homes, and all of these around us today, simply because he did that. He also did something with the wheat. Now, a wheat tree used to be this tall, and the wheat trees are now this tall. So those are the genetically modified wheat. And he's not done with us yet. He's coming at us with a vengeance, especially in the last days. Anyway, a new study from Japan is poking a hole in the idea that drinking alcohol fights cancer, and providing evidence that it may increase your risk of cancer instead. But this was interesting to see that all of a sudden now they're not touting it. But when you look at the people who are doing these commercials and admonishing people to use it, are the people who are actually growing the grapes and selling it so that it can be made into wine. 12% of all cancers, 50% of auto accidents, family damage, all of these things help to weaken the immune system. How about the sun? Is the sun good? It's very good. Sun is healing. I believe I'm getting a lot of sunshine here. Since I've been here, I went for a nice walk today and got that sun, and get the sun in your eyes, and that way you can get a good night's rest, right? I love to dry my clothes outdoors, and I love the smell of it, and so I have a line outside to dry my clothes. I just love the smell. And, but sun is good. The way we have it now, it shows that a lot of people are suffering with skin cancer. And we have to ask the reason why. Why are they suffering with skin cancer? And I like what it says here. Nutrition and sunlight are intimately related, because we also need the sunlight to grow our food. That's how we get the chlorophyll in our food. Unless one has a proper diet, sunlight has an ill effect on the skin. Sunbathing is dangerous for those who are on the standard American diet or do not get an abundance of vegetables, whole grains, and fresh fruits. Those on a high-fat diet should stay out of the sun and protect themselves from it. And those persons will suffer from the high-fat diet as well as the deficiency of vitamin D. You probably are asking, so what about sunscreen? What about sunscreen? Is it good? Why? So when you put sunscreen on your skin, the sun melts all those chemicals that are in sunscreen, goes right into your bloodstream. And if you're on a standard American diet, not eating your vegetables and your fruit, chances are you will end up with skin cancer. So how can you protect yourself if you're outside? You know, cotton, long sleeve, or linen. It breathes, so you will get the benefits of the sun even if you have the long sleeve linen or cotton on. But what do we wear a lot of? Synthetics, polyester. Those don't breathe. And so you end up with skin problems and other related diseases because of it. It's hard when you look at it, when we've been so accustomed to using these material as our clothing, to now find linen and cotton is very hard. Can't find them. So we use what we have, right? Oops. Cancer loves sugar. Cancer cells take 15 times more sugar than regular cells. So for a person who has cancer, sugar should be eliminated pretty much from their diet. In the 17th century, a person was only allowed 4 pounds of sugar a year. I think we need to go back to that. And you had to have a prescription from a doctor to buy sugar. By the 18th century, it went up to 18 pounds. 19th century, 90 pounds. The 20th century, half a pound of sugar a day. And then you may wonder, well, how come I'm taken in so much sugar? But all of the processed foods out there, they have denatured it, and they have to put sugar, salt, and fat to make it tasty. So you can get hooked on it. A lot of companies, what they do, they pay a lot of money for these scientists to sit around the table and to come up with what they call a bliss point. The bliss point is they're going to make a product, but when you taste that product, it would keep you coming back for more and more and more. So they work on that bliss point, specifically Oreo cookies. When you look at the commercial, what does it say? You can never eat one. So this is what they do. They work on their bliss point to come to your bliss point, and then you eat that stuff, and you have it for the first time, and you're hooked on it forever and ever. So by the 2012, it was 150 pounds per person per year. And now, I don't have the reading there, but it is probably about 160 to 70 pounds of sugar per person per year. A lot of sugar. And that's one of the reasons why cancer is on the increase, because it just wipes out the immune system and sets the body up for diseases. Tumors are primarily glucose digesting boxes. They require sugar for survival. So if a person has a tumor, they shouldn't have any sugar at all, except for the fruit sugar, because the fruit has the fiber, and that would cause the body to eliminate properly. But if they're just drinking sodas or eating Twinkies, by the way, do you know Twinkies don't break down on the landfill site? And do you know Twinkies? And do you know that? Do you know that it's an Adventist company that's making Twinkies? I rest my case. So, even though the brain normally uses high amounts of glucose, some tumors use roughly as much glucose as the brain, yet they are far smaller in size. That's a cyst, the size of a cyst that was removed from someone's abdomen. This is a tumor that came out of someone's abdomen. And this is cancer of the knee. That's the replication of the cancer in the body. Yes. So glucose paralyzes the action of the immune system. It reduces the ability of the body's white blood cells to engulf bacteria, and a diet of far less sugar deprives cancer of its energy and increases the power of the immune system to deal with it and other problems. Both derive energy from glucose, but the normal cells require oxygen to combine with the glucose, while cancer cells break down glucose without oxygen, yielding about 1/15 of the energy per glucose molecule that a normal cell produces. This is why cancer cells have such an appetite for cancer, and why people who are obese get cancer more often. You know, they've actually, I don't have that slide, I have a friend of mine has it, and I saw it, where when you consume animal product, the cancer cells go after the meat. Sugar, the cancer cells go right after it. So we feed the cancer cells even without knowing that we are doing that. So again, our vegetables, fruits and vegetables, very important. These are some alkaline foods that you can include, because, you know, we're always talking about alkaline water and alkaline foods. Your celery. Celery has something in it that will kill cancer cells. It's called apoptosis. When a cancer cell is killed off. Apoptosis. So celery. There's a lady who said she healed herself just by drinking 4 or 5 glasses of celery juice every day. And then if you add to that your spinach, your kale, your broccoli, if you're doing, I think we have one in sprouts coming out. So all of these things will help to keep your body alkaline. You don't want it to be acidic, because cancer will thrive in an acidic body. Anybody who has cancer, their body is acidic. If your body is alkaline, then you don't have to worry. And so another thing that you can also use in the morning, I think we'll touch on that with our liver, is lemon water in the morning. I don't know if you guys do that. It's very important. because it actually cleans. It's like a little Drano that goes through all the pipes and cleans the system out. Okay? Now, this is, how many of you have heard of Michael Greger or this book? Okay, How Not to Die. His book is entitled How Not to Die. And in the chapters is how not to die from cancer, how not to die from heart disease, how not, and he tells you everything that you need to not die from, which is really funny. So 3 hours, this is what he said. 3 hours after eating a cup of broccoli sprouts, the enzyme that cancer uses to help silence its defense is suppressed in the bloodstream to an equal or greater than chemotherapy agent designed for that purpose without the toxic side effects. Let your food be your medicine and your medicine your food. So Dr. Ornish, I don't know if you've heard of him as well, he took biopsies from men with prostate cancer before and after 3 months of intensive lifestyle changes. He put them on a whole food plant-based diet, no chemo, no radiation, and beneficial changes in the gene expression was boosted within 3 months. So the question is it inherited genes or inherited diet? It's got to be the diet, right? So prostate cancer is the second most common cancer affecting men, with nearly 1 million new cases diagnosed globally every year. Good news is it's nearly 90% survival rate after diagnosis. You get on it and you start doing the things that you need to do, you know, then the PSA that is supposed to be, I think it's 2.3 or less, wouldn't get to be much higher if you're doing the right things. Prostate cancer patients consume a diet higher in fat, meat, and dairy products than those who do not have prostate cancer. The higher the consumption, the higher the death rate. They offered men $1,000 for a week to stay away from meat. And unfortunately, some said yes. Most blacks said, not even for $1,000 would I. That's interesting, right? So, women, if women are consuming eggs, the risk is 3.8 times higher for cancer. For ovarian cancer, it is 3 times higher. Every 12 minutes, someone dies from breast cancer, yet women who eat as few as 2 servings of vegetable a day reduce their breast cancer risk by 30%. How are you doing? It's 8 o'clock. Can we have a couple more minutes just to finish? Because this is a very important one. I throw this in because I think it's important. Colon cancer. If you look at this picture, you will see stage 0, right? The cancer is, does this have a light? Maybe not. Oh, yes. Okay, that's stage 0. And you notice how small it is, right? Then this is stage 1, and this is inside a colon. This is how stage 2 looks. And you can see how it's developing. Now it's breaking through the skin, right? Stage 2 and stage 3. And by stage 4, it has already gone through and metastasized. It's now in the lymph nodes. And once it gets into the lymph nodes, it's like a runaway car. It's going to keep going from one place to the other, so that's very important. So stage 1 is very early cancer of the innermost layer of the intestine. Stage 1, that's 0, sorry. Stage 1, cancer is in the inner layers of the colon. Stage 2, the cancer has spread through the muscle wall of the colon. Stage 3, cancer has spread to the lymph nodes, and stage 4, it has spread to other organs and outside of the colon. Oh, I had it here too. I forgot. And this is colon cancer. You can see here, this is stage 1, what it looks like, and this is stage 2. Even more of it now is it's spreading. And then you look at stage 3, right? And those are the lymph nodes. Once it's in the lymph nodes, this is the cancer right here. It's going to keep spreading to other parts of the body. So what are signs and symptoms of colon cancer? A change in your bowel habits, including diarrhea or constipation, or a change in the consistency of your stool that lasts longer than 4 weeks. Rectal bleeding or blood in the stool. Now, sometimes people think they have cancer because they have rectal bleeding, but it could be from hemorrhoids. And if your stool is very hard, it can actually cause bleeding every time you go to the bathroom. Persistent abdominal discomfort, such as cramps, gas, or pain, a feeling that your bowel doesn't empty completely, weakness or fatigue, and unexplained weight loss. How to prevent cancer on a whole: high fiber, low fat. Increase more fruits and vegetables. Supplement with added fiber such as chia or flax or Metamucil. Increase your water. Eat less, move more. Promptly, I like that, panic. Have a panic attack. Promptly answer nature's initial call. Did you know that every time that we do not go to the bathroom when nature says to go, that the feeling gets lower, less and less and less, to the point where it doesn't even respond unless you wake it up with something. So what we did, working at a nursing home, what we did is that every time a patient would eat, we give them about 20 minutes, and then that's the bowel retraining program. We put them to sit on the toilet, even if they did nothing, but get them into habit, and the bowel into the habit of, you gotta work, you gotta work, you gotta work. So just put them there and leave them there. It may not happen for a few days, but eventually it will happen, and then they can start going more regularly. And at the nursing home, a lot of people, they actually have so much medication, especially in those nursing homes, a lot of medication, and when you put all of those medication together, it doesn't even dissolve. Some of them don't even dissolve. Whenever I work with the patients, I make sure when I'm giving them their medication, I give them a cup of prune juice to help them along. And then when the CNAs come back in, they come in the morning, they said, Miss Cynthia must be at work. Because I make sure that nobody there, remember, I'm the colon police. I make sure that people go because it makes them sick. I had a patient, a guest that came into the lifestyle center, and she was not going at all. I don't know, I can't remember how many weeks she hadn't gone. And she was sitting like where you are, and I can smell stool from her breath. From her breath. And at the nursing home that I'm telling you about, I had one patient, we had to send her out to the hospital. She was vomiting stool. That's a backed up colon. So this is what happens: the medication, no water, no activity, no exercise, and everything gets plugged up eventually. So it's okay to have panic attacks. When I was in India, my students, they never came to school with water, but to my classes with water, and I said, the only way you enter my class is to come with a bottle of water. So I have a picture of them with, everybody has, about 50 of them have a bottle of water. Miss, look, look. And then they will, when they need to go, they said, Miss, I'm having a panic attack. That's okay. And the retraining program. So get regular physical exercise for up to 4 hours a week reduces the risk by 1/3. Foods that we know, well, the food on the left will cause you to be sick. The food on the right will actually help you to increase. But what they have found over the years, that more people now are eating more fat, and more people are using 36% more fat. On the right side, it's 33 less fruit that is being consumed. In countries where, like Canada and Britain and the US, these countries that have the highest amount of dairy also have the highest amount of cancers. Do you know that there's also an 80% decline in eating vegetables over the past 60 years? Antioxidants such as lycopene, vitamin A, E, C, selenium, all of these stuff helps free radicals from harming the cells. And some of the top 10 fruits are strawberries, by the way. Strawberries are number one for the 13, what's the fruit? Was it 13? Help me out. Highest pesticides. If it's not organic, has the highest amount of pesticide, is number one is strawberries. Yes, yes. So the top ones are strawberries, plums, orange, red grapes, kiwi fruit, grapefruit, white grapes, banana, apple, blueberries. So all of these fruits, wonderful. Garlic, Brussels sprouts. It's all of these vegetables, like your Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, broccoli, they are all cabbage. They're all from the cruciferous department. And the way it's called cruciferous is because when the seedlings are just coming up, it looks like the cross. That's why they're called cruciferous vegetables.
Also know the micro stage of it, how potent it is
Yes.
compared to the whole
Broccoli.
raw.
Or vegetable.
40% more nutrient at the micro stage than its full.
It's incredible what you get from those little sprouts or the microgreens as opposed to even eating the whole one. I think I read where it says that you can eat like about a cup of sprouts is like eating 5 pounds of broccoli. That's how exponential the nutrition is in it. So great. Now, we talk about resveratrol. Grapes inhibit angiogenesis by 60%. That's the reason why they said it's okay to use grapes for to kill cancer cells. But strawberries also inhibits it. And soy inhibits angiogenesis as well. And other foods that has the resveratrol, or it just prohibits the growth of the cancer. Makes new blood, yes, provides more new blood cells to the area. Yes, so genesis, it grows more blood cells. But look at this, peanuts is a resveratrol. Pistachios, bilberries, red currants, mulberries, jackfruit, skin. Darkened, I put that in because it was there, darkened milk chocolate and cocoa powder. But we don't use those. We use carom, okay? So cocoa, whatever it is they call it, it has caffeine. And that's why we don't use it. Yes. Another set of angiogenesis foods is your blackberries, raspberries, grapefruit, pineapple, and all of those. We're going to move on. Cancer herbs, nettle and red clover, echinacea, dandelion. And it's not limited to just these ones either. This one on the right side, Isiac tea, I don't know if anyone has heard of Isiac. Okay, and it's a long story, but I will just say that these are some of the herbs. The burdock root, cypre elm, sheep sorrel, and Indian rhubarb. And these are what people have used. And the lady who came up with this, her name is Caisse, Cassie. And it's the tea she made, she just turned it around and said Isiac tea. But it has helped a lot of people, including my sister. So anything red and green and yellow and orange is very good. Question? Question? Oh, okay. So we know that if a person stops smoking, no alcohol, diet high in fiber, and ideal weight, that they can actually cut cancer rate, instead of 1 in 4, it will be 1 in 20, just by eating the right foods. 4 lifestyle changes could prevent close to 80% of cancers found in the Western society instead of 1 in 4. Dying of cancer, the risk could be reduced to 1 in 20. Now, we're going to touch this briefly. We're going to come to sleep, so we're going to leave that because we're doing a whole lecture on sleep. Fresh air is very important to get outside. And you know, when you go outside and you breathe, the way you breathe is you breathe through your nostril and you let it out through your nostril, not through your mouth. When you breathe, if you look at my hand and I'm breathing, my stomach extends. And when I breathe out, then it deflates. That's how it's supposed to be. It takes practice sometimes to be able to do that. So getting fresh air is important. Participate in screening examination. Early detection could offer much higher survival rates. And someone said something about attitude. Things that cancer feed on is attitude. You give two people the same diagnosis, one may die and one may live, all because of the way the attitude that they have towards this disease. So the importance of a healthy attitude cannot be underestimated. The relationship between the mind and the body is very intimate. When one is affected, the other sympathizes. The condition of the mind affects the health to a far greater degree than many realize, as many diseases are the result of mental depression. Actually, we're told in the spirit of prophecy, 9/10 of disease originates in the mind. Grief, anxiety, discontent, remorse, guilt, and distress all tend to break down the life forces and invite decay and death, while courage, hope, faith, sympathy, love promote health and prolong life. A contented mind, a cheerful spirit is health to the body and strength to the soul. In the treatment of the sick, the effect of mental influence should not be overlooked. Rightly used, this influence affords one of the most effective agencies for combating diseases. It's come from the Ministry of Healing, page 241. Okay. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not his benefits. Who does what? Forgiveth all thine diseases, and who does what? Healeth all thy diseases. Okay. So a merry heart doeth good like medicine, but a broken spirit dries up. I want to tell you two testimonies. There was a doctor at Loma Linda Hospital. He was the anesthetist of the hospital, and he actually came down with stomach cancer. There are two cancers that are very difficult to diagnose early. One of them is stomach cancer, the other one is pancreatic cancer. And his wife was a vegan. She would cook all his beautiful food, but he didn't partake of it. His main meal was basically in the evening, and his breakfast, lunch is like coffee and donut. And the wife was always trying to get him to eat right, but he just totally ignored her. So he was going to the top doctors there in Loma Linda, and he, one day his friend said to him, who does the bronchoscopy, let me just look down into your stomach. And when the friend looked in the stomach, the friend started to cry, because he realized that my friend, my colleague, is now suffering with stage 4 stomach cancer. So he was scheduled to go to the top oncologist to start oncology, his treatment, let's say that Monday. But on Friday, and I'm saying this because I've read his book. I don't remember his name, it was a couple of years ago. But his wife said to him, why don't you call a lifestyle center and go visit them? So he just kept ignoring her. But Friday, he knew that chances are they're probably filled up. They were getting ready to start that Monday or whenever. And so he said, okay, I'm going to call. If there is no room, I'm not going. I'll start my treatment on Monday. But be careful what you ask for. As God would have it, there was someone who had canceled just before he came. He called. And so he, his wife, his 2 sons, they took off to Heartland. The long and short is they spent 21 days or 18 days at Heartland, and he went home not healed, but better than he was. But when he went back home, and then his job is a very stressful job. His job is just to make sure that everybody stays under that anesthetic and do well, right? And so when he went back home, now he started eating his wife's food. And she made sure that he ate well. He started a garden in his backyard. And the long and short of it is, in 4 years, his cancer was completely gone. Now, fourth grade stage cancer is very hard to heal completely, unless you are consistent, regimented, you're doing everything by the book. You're going by the 8 laws of health. No ands, if no buts. And then he wrote the book about his testimony. I just thought that was interesting, but I'd like to tell you one more before we go. This young lady was diagnosed with cervical cancer, 4th stage. Doctor says, we're not going to operate because if we touch it, it looked like a cauliflower. You know what a cauliflower looks like. So her cervix looked like a cauliflower. So they said, okay, she was in a lot of pain because of the swelling, and so they said, we will do radiation. Even that, she said she could not even stand it. They actually had to put one of those, insert one of those, what to call it, radiation, whatever, into her vagina in order for it to get to the cancer. So she's a nurse, and but she couldn't do anything for herself. She was so tired, she was so weak, she was in so much pain, she could do nothing. So her sister and her brother-in-law started juicing for her. And when they juice and leave it there, they come back and they meet the juice the same place. So now they start to force feed her. And little by little, she started gaining health, a little stronger and stronger. And she would go to the doctor for her regular checkups, and the doctors are saying, you must be doing something good. Keep doing it. The long and short is, that was in 1997. Today, that young lady is alive today. It's my twin sister. So I say that, and then my older sister, she also had cancer. And of course, when I was trying to encourage them to make some changes in their lifestyle, they just leave me alone, Sister White, leave me alone. But they realize the importance of making that dietary change. So both of them are alive today, and they're doing very well. But the profound thing is what my sister's done. What she has done was change her lifestyle completely, 180-degree turn. And the consistency, today, she still eats as if she just got the diagnosis yesterday. So what does that mean? It's not a quick fix. It's a lifestyle change that has to be made. And you have to be consistent with doing the things that would help your body to heal. You can't say, well, okay, I didn't eat, haven't had a chocolate for a month, so I've been doing good, and then all of a sudden you go for that chocolate. That's going to take you into, catapult you into keep doing that same thing, take you out from your healing process to now putting you back in the sick mode. We can get healed with cancer, but we have to be consistent. You know, the Bible says that we can do all things through Christ that strengthens us, and that we have his backing, because it is his desire. In 3 John 2, beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as your soul prosper. And in Romans 12:1, it says, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is our reasonable service. It goes on to say, and be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. God wants us to be healthy. And he's given us the ammunition, he's given us the health message to help us to be healthy. We just have to be obedient and not be rebellious. Any questions? Reset. Yes. Yes.
That seems powerful.
Yes, it's very important. I actually fast once a week. Every Wednesday, my friend and I, we do from 5 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the evening. We fast. And it's one way of actually rebuilding the body and physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. And many studies and many books are out there today that actually show how important it is for us to fast one day. And I fast every day because I only eat twice a day. I have breakfast and I have lunch or supper. And once I have that, I don't put anything else in my mouth until, or except water, until the next morning. So I actually fast 16 hours every day just by eating 2 meals a day. Many of us don't require 3 meals, especially if we're not working. And so if we get into the habit of eating 2 good solid meals, then we will realize that it's far better. You want to lose weight? That's a great way to lose weight as well, is to fast at least for 12 hours or 16 hours every day. Yes, very good. Any question? Pesticides. Can you take the mic? Thanks.
What if you soaked your vegetable or fruits? You know, like in baking soda and vinegar, does that help at all?
Because strawberries have such a thin skin, and you can't even peel it, not like an apple. It's very hard. But yes, you can soak your fruit. You can use vinegar. Vinegar, the studies show that vinegar is one of the products. When they looked at all the fruit sprays that they have, they had nothing in comparison to what vinegar would do. It has to be 99% white vinegar, and if you soak your fruit in it for 15 minutes, then it pretty much takes out almost all of the pesticides. But it's quite expensive to buy a gallon of vinegar. So what I normally do, I take the 100% vinegar, I put it in a spray bottle, I spray my fruit, I let it sit for 15 minutes, and then I rinse it. And so you can take your little scouring pad and just rough it up a little bit on the outside. And so that's what I do. But it's one of the best things, studies show that it's the best thing to clean your vegetables is vinegar. But there are lots of other products that are out there that you can use as well, but they don't come close to the vinegar. Yes.
I have a history of diverticulitis 7 years ago, so I start taking slippery elm, which helps me a lot in the morning with warm water. But I stopped doing that because I got so busy with a lot of stuff, my mom's funeral and all that stuff. Yesterday and today, and just after I prayed, I have severe stomach pain, and for some reason my mind told me, rub your stomach in circle, and in 10-15 minutes it was so severely painful that rubbing it 10-15 minutes I was able to burp from the mouth and the other side. I don't know what's happening. Could that be part of my diverticulitis?
It's quite possible. It's
Okay.
quite possible. Drinking more water.
Okay.
Got to. And you have to take care of yourself so that you can take care of others. Can't neglect yourself. Okay? So that's one thing that you can use. The other thing that I usually like to recommend is ground flaxseed. You know, when you ground the flaxseed, that's when you get the most out of it. So it should be ground. And use that every day.
Okay.
Even with the slippery elm.
Okay.
Use it every day, breakfast and lunch. 2 tablespoons, and I say 2 heaping tablespoons with both your breakfast and both your lunch. And you should see a big difference. Because
Okay.
things got to move
Okay.
and move out. Not just move, but move out of the system. Yes.
I do move
Mhm.
5:30 every day. I
Okay.
do take probiotic So
Very
I
good.
do move twice in the morning, 5:30, and then half an hour later. But well, we had beans last night, so
Ah, yeah, that can do
so,
it.
so it wasn't solid. It's more like soft. Is that okay?
That's
My
fine.
bowel movement
That's-
is almost the same.
Bowel movements doesn't have to be solid,
Okay.
you know? When it hits the water, it should disintegrate.
Yes.
And it shouldn't have any bad smell either, if the bowels are working really well. So just a little
Okay.
hint.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you.
But just if you're doing it and it's working, just keep doing it. Just be diligent in doing it every day.
Okay.
Every day. Yes. Well, we've come to the end of this lecture. I pray that you've learned something, taken something away from the classes, and put to practice. Any information, knowledge that is not used is no good. So always put the knowledge to use. Even if it's just one thing a week or one thing a month, just put it to use, put it to practice. It will become a habit eventually. Thank you so much.
Okay, so let me just say that she mentioned, what was the lifestyle center? No, the one you said. Heartland. Just to let you all know, that is in Virginia. How many of you ever heard of Heartland before? Okay, yeah. It is actually not just a lifestyle center, but it's a college. So young people, well, even if you're an older person, can go there. It's an Adventist college. So just want to let you know that. Tomorrow morning is when we are going to have our salve and tincture making. We're going to do both, right? Right. We're going to do both in the morning and we're going to do in the evening. So that's what we're having tomorrow, and it's going to be in the fellowship hall. So we know that. Also, tomorrow I'm hoping that we can have a handout for you concerning if you want to change your diet, let's say, to a plant-based diet. We have a way that you can step, step. And it was created by actually he was a physical therapist. He's dead now, but he was very much into health, hydrotherapy, and things like that. And so he had a handout that he gave to help if you want to change your diet, let's say from a meat-eating diet to a plant-based diet. Okay. All right. So let's stand and have prayer. Thank you all for coming out. You've been a beautiful audience. Yep. All right. Dear kind Heavenly Father, we thank you for your grace and your mercy. We thank you for your saving health. Thank you for the presenter and her knowledge. Also, Lord, I'm asking that you would take everyone home safely and bring them back again tomorrow. And this is my prayer in your Son's name. Amen.